Welcome and good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. The purpose of this meeting is here to support our Vietnamese American community here at Vietnam Town, Little Saigon, who have been plagued by numerous strong-arm robberies here over the last year. But it was the diligent work of our officers, our women and men here, taking the reports, investigating, and today we're following up with our community to advise them of the arrest that we've made back in September, but also continue to building that trust and relationship that we have with our Vietnamese American community. Unfortunately, these incidents, over 100 throughout the Bay Area, were committed by several individuals, but it was the partnership that we have with the District Attorney's Office, our city, specifically our council member Maya Esparza, other city departments working together to charge a hate crime enhancement for these individuals because they were specifically targeting Vietnamese females here, not only in this area here, but also throughout the Bay Area. So again, it's the hard work, but working in partnership with all the stakeholders here to keep our community safe. With that, I'm going to pass it over to District Attorney Jeff Rosen. You can follow up about the cases and the charges for these individuals.
I have a message to all the hardworking and good people of Little Saigon and to the people who have preyed upon them. And that message is this. This is my neighborhood. This is Mr. Rosen's neighborhood. And it's Chief Mata's neighborhood. And it's Council Member Maya Esparza's neighborhood. It's Captain Schaub's neighborhood from the San Jose Police Department. While we live in different places and our families came from different countries, we take your safety seriously and we take it personally. That's why I'm here today. This is a unique place with its restaurants, its cafes, the temples, the Lion Plaza, the Grand Century Mall. It's mom and pop businesses, its leaders, and many of the community members and community leaders that we just met with. This success is the uniquely American reward that you get for working hard and caring for your community and your family. And all of you and your families deserve safety. As Chief Mata mentioned, a recent San Jose PD operation in collaboration with the DA's office resulted in the arrest and ongoing prosecution of 6 men who preyed upon Asian women, robbed them, took their purses, attacked them to steal from them. And this happened to more than 100 women throughout not only Santa Clara County, but throughout the Bay Area. Because of the work of one San Jose police detective who did just such a tremendous job, we were able to uncover this network. When this case was brought to the DA's office, the question came to me as to whether to charge a hate crime enhancement against these individuals because they targeted Asian women, because they thought Asian women don't use banks, and they also made some other ethnic slurs against Asians, which I won't repeat here. I decided to charge this also as a hate crime for a few reasons. Number one, it adds additional time in custody, which is appropriate for a case of this magnitude. Number two, I recognize, and I think we all recognize, that a hate crime doesn't only affect the individual victims involved, and in this case, more than 100 Asian women were victims of this violent gang. But it also affects people in the Asian American community who were not targeted because it makes them fearful that they might be next. And finally, an attack like this is really an attack against the basic premises of this country, that as Americans, we are all entitled to equal and fair treatment under the law, and that we should all treat one another with respect. So because of those reasons, we charge this as a hate crime. It's specially assigned to a prosecutor in our crime strategies unit. I want to remind everyone that the community is the police department and the police department is the community. And the community is the district attorney's office, and the district attorney's office is the community. We represent you, we work for you. In the last few years, the DA's office has sent a community prosecutor specifically to work in Little Saigon and with the Vietnamese American community. Her name is Hani Tran. She's a Vietnamese American and she speaks Vietnamese. And she's worked a lot with the officers that San Jose PD has assigned to this area, as well as with local business owners and others, to do everything we can to bring safety to this area. And that's an ongoing commitment that you have for me, that she will be here, or another community prosecutor will be here, and we will continue the strong partnership that we have. The last thing I would say is that it's very important that law enforcement works together. And you know, in some other parts of our country, the DAs and the police are yelling and screaming and blaming each other for things, and that doesn't happen in our county. We have always worked very closely and collaboratively with our police department in order to serve and protect everyone in this community. So with that, I want to remind everyone in the Vietnamese American community that we are here to serve you. We're your friends, we're your neighbors, and we want to help, and we are going to help. Thank you. I think the next speaker is Councilmember Maya Esparza.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank the SJPD for their amazing job and Detective Amanda Estantino. I'd like to thank the leadership of Chief Mata and District Attorney Jeff Rosen for really taking hate crimes seriously in our county and pursuing this as such. I was able to secure the first Vietnamese-speaking foot patrol here in Little Saigon, and those relationships that are built here in the community help not only just in instances like this, but all the time. And this community has suffered. There was a tremendous amount of fear during COVID, during the hate crimes of people that were afraid to live their lives. And so the message is, Little Saigon is open, it's safe. The city of San Jose stands together to ensure the safety of people here in Little Saigon. We will not stand for hate crimes here at all. Thank you. I'm sorry, I said Little Saigon is open for business. Sorry.
That concludes the statement portion. If you'd like to have interviews one-on-one with individuals from the community, feel free to stop and talk to them. If you'd like to speak with any of the individuals up here, feel free to reach out. In the interim, if there are any case-specific questions about this, Captain Shab is available for commentary right now. And if so, you can feel free to ask those questions to individuals.
Captain, can you give us a few more details about the suspects and the breadth and range of what they did? I do know that they kind of perfected this whole method of going after Asian.
Yeah, absolutely. So there was a press release that I refer you to that has the suspects' names and their photos. But what was occurring is back in September, there was a string of suspects who started targeting Asian women specifically in areas like Little Saigon. And after a couple of these robberies, Detective Estantino, who's behind me, started to kind of put the MO together that these suspects were using. And when she did that, she realized that the span of area, the geographically that they were covering was all the way out through Santa Clara County and beyond. Over the course of the next year, she was able to link 177 of these robberies together. Now, there's lots of evidence that was collected through cell phones, through interviews, through video surveillance. Some of that I'm not going to get into because that case is still under prosecution. But what I can tell you is there is no doubt that these suspects believe that they could prey on these victims because of their ethnicity, because of their gender. And that's why we're here today, is to really send that message that this county, this department, this DA's office absolutely will not stand for that.
Did these suspects think that they were untouchable?
I think they thought so. I'd argue they weren't.
Can you talk about how the team came about approaching the hate crime enhancement? What I know Mr. Rosen said that they said some racial slurs. What else happened?
Again, I can't get into the specifics of that because the case is still under prosecution, but what I can tell you is that through search warrants of their phones, through interviews, it was very, very clear that they were targeting Asian women specifically.
Why?
They believed that they were going to be easy targets and that they were going to have large sums of cash.
How important was the community witnesses in this case and speaking up, and why is that important for people to continue to do?
Yeah, great question. We wouldn't be here today if we didn't have that. The community being willing to come forward and the courage for a victim to come forward and say, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to let you do this to me is absolutely critical. The community in here coming together and putting in extra security along with our officers that we supplemented, putting in cameras to help us catch these thieves. It was the purest example of collaboration between the district attorney's office, the community, and the police department.
And then do meetings like this today help hopefully build that bond between, law enforcement and the community to help with this?
Absolutely. And this is not, this interaction you see, this collaboration that you see today is nothing new with this community, with this department. We've been doing this for years and we will continue to do it.
Would you go as far to say that the suspects are racist?
I think if you're targeting a group of individuals based on race, I don't think you could say they're anything but racist.
Just how organized was this group of six? Did they evolve into doing this? Did they kind of have a master plan, or just exactly how did they end up, and how sophisticated or unsophisticated were they?
I would say they were fairly sophisticated. They were fairly organized. Again, they were stretching areas from San Jose all the way up through Santa Clara County and all the way up into the East Bay. They were communicating on a very regular basis and making specific targets. So I would say they're very organized.
When were the 6 suspects arrested?
They were arrested starting back in September and all the way up to last month.
So not together, separate incidents?
Correct.
How many of them are still in custody?
3.
The other 3 are released on supervised release?
I'm not sure exactly how they were released, but there's 3 in custody right now.
How does that sit with you that 3 of them are out of jail?
Not great, but the laws that are set by the state, we have to follow. So.
And how much time are we looking at for these suspects? And then the with and without the enhancements?
So each suspect faces different charges. I think the maximum exposure for the longest for one suspect is all the way up through 95 years, I believe.
And was there one ringleader, who organized everything, or did they? What was it?
I would say they were all equally culpable.
Did the activity stop after the first arrests were made, or did the remaining members of the 6 keep on going after the initial arrests?
There were robberies that were on viewed by officers the day of the final arrest.
Sorry?
There were robberies that were on viewed, that were witnessed by the arresting officers the day of the final arrest.
And what's your feeling about copycats coming in and filling the void?
I would like this to serve as a message to them. If they would like to prey upon this community or any community in San Jose, we'll show their mugshot next in the next press conference.
The San Jose Police Foot Patrols are still continuing on, is that what you said?
Yes,
When was the final arrest made?
in November last month. Okay, thank you very much, folks. Appreciate it.
Say your spell first, last name, please.
Shab, S-H-A-B as in boy. First name is Brian.
Frank?
Captain,
Brian with an I or what?
with an I.